Why did Hitler's mighty army, undefeated across Europe, falter in the streets of a single city? Why did the German Sixth Army, confident, disciplined, and armed with all the tools of modern warfare, collapse against a stubborn, battered, and determined force? The answer lies not only in strategy, supply, or skill, it lies in the human spirit, in courage, and in a city that refused to fall, Stalingrad. In the summer of 1942, the Eastern Front stretched across thousands of miles of Russian steppe. The Wehrmacht had swept through Poland, France, and the Balkans with devastating precision. Its tanks moved fast. Its artillery crushed defenses. Its soldiers believed victory was inevitable. But in the south, along the Volga River, a different challenge awaited. Stalingrad was a sprawling industrial city, alive with factories, homes, and people determined to fight. For Hitler, it was a prize of personal significance, a city named after Stalin, a city that represented the Soviet heart. For Stalin, it was more than a city, it was a symbol of his nation's resilience, and he vowed it would not fall. The German Sixth Army advanced through open fields, facing burned-out villages and scorched earth. The Soviets retreated strategically, destroying bridges, railways, and supplies, leaving nothing for the invaders to use. The soldiers marched across endless steppe under the blazing sun, unaware that the fight in the city itself would be unlike any battle they had ever faced. By August, Stalingrad itself was in view. The Luftwaffe rained fire from above, turning neighborhoods into ash, reducing factories and homes to rubble. The streets became mazes of twisted metal, collapsed walls, and shattered lives. Civilians fled, but many were trapped, forced to endure bombing, hunger, and the terror of urban warfare. The battle was unlike any the German army had seen. Every building was a fortress. Every alley was a killing zone. Snipers perched in shattered windows, picking off soldiers with deadly precision. Machine guns erupted from rubble, destroying advancing squads. Tanks moved cautiously, only to be trapped and disabled in narrow streets. The advance slowed, measured in yards, and every yard cost lives. For the Soviet defenders, it was a fight for survival. Factory workers became soldiers. Civilians became fighters. Every man, woman, and even child could be a weapon. Molotov cocktails, rifles, and barricades made the city a fortress. The German army had to fight for every room, every floor, every building. By November 1942, the Soviet command struck back. Operation Uranus encircled the Sixth Army, trapping the Germans in a vast pocket. The city became a cage. Winter arrived early and mercilessly. Rations dwindled. Frostbite and hunger claimed thousands. Morale collapsed. The German airlift failed to supply the trapped soldiers adequately. Attempts to break out were met with overwhelming resistance. Inside the pocket, the fighting continued. Soldiers fought with discipline, with courage, with desperation. Every block was contested. Every ruined building a battlefield. Some fought to the last bullet, some froze in the snow, some starved. Even amid despair, acts of courage and human endurance shone through. In February 1943, the Sixth Army surrendered. Over 90,000 German soldiers became prisoners. Hundreds of thousands had died, German, Soviet, and civilian alike. The city itself was a ruin, but it had not fallen. It had endured. Why did Stalingrad break the German army? Because it was defended by a people who refused to surrender. Because it tested every strategy, every weapon, every man, and still held its ground. Because courage, determination, and the will to survive can triumph over even the most powerful forces. Stalingrad was more than a city, it was a symbol. A symbol that no army is invincible. A symbol that human endurance can endure horrors, famine, and fire. A symbol that courage is not measured in guns or tanks, but in the willingness to fight for something greater than oneself. The battle changed the course of World War II. It shattered the myth of German invincibility on the Eastern Front. It gave hope to the Allies, and it proved that even the darkest hour could be turned by human will. The soldiers, civilians, and commanders who endured Stalingrad left a legacy far beyond the battlefield. They showed that even in ruin, there can be resistance. Even in defeat, there can be resilience. Even in war, the human spirit can rise, unbroken. The German Sixth Army was destroyed. The city was devastated. But the story of Stalingrad lives on. It lives in history books, in documentaries, and in every tale of courage against impossible odds. It lives as a testament that numbers, strategy, and technology are never enough against determination, endurance, and spirit. And that is why Stalingrad broke the German army. Not by force alone, not by guns alone, but by the unyielding will of people who refuse to give up. By the courage of ordinary men and women, who in extraordinary circumstances, became legends. By a city that would not fall.